In this tutorial, we're just going to be talking about creating the object picking functionality. The first thing I'm doing is I'm creating an empty game object and I'm calling it picked manager. And on that, I'm going to add a visual script and call that picking functionality. I'm going to remove the on start event, and we're just going to expand this script graph so you can see the visual scripting a lot clearer. All right, the first thing I want to do is add a get mouse button down, and this is just going to detect whether or not the user has clicked the button or the left click button. We want to connect that to an if function and just make sure the false is also connected so that this actually works. We also want to add a raycast, and so not just any raycast, it's the raycast hit info with layer mask on it. We're going to set a max distance to 100, so when you click on the object, the camera that we are using can detect it from a distance of at least 100 cubes. I'm also adding a screen pointer ray node, and we're going to use the main camera as a camera for the raycast to actually shoot out of. So this will detect any raycasts or any mouse clicks from the perspective of the camera, the main camera. Next, we're going to be adding a get mouse position, and this would just be using the camera and the mouse in tandem to figure out where the raycast, where the user is clicking and where the raycast should shoot. I'm also adding a layer mask, and just to show you, the layer that we're using is a selectable objects layer. If you don't have that layer, then you can also create your own layer and call it selectable objects. I've already done that, and I've set that layer mask to selectable objects. On top of the raycast, we're going to add an if function and also make sure that the false is connected. We also want to drag out a node for hit info, and we want to set this to get collider. We're going to connect that get collider to game object, get game object. So basically, once you hit the raycast collider hits an object that's got a layer of selectable objects, it would pick that layer. So that's the whole point of this function, is that it picks a layer. Right now I'm in graph variables. I should be in the scene tab, but I'll correct this later. Just a heads up, it should be scene tab instead of the graph header. And what I'm going to be adding here is a picked object null variable, and also I'm going to be adding a vector free variable for the mouse position. But just keep in mind, like I said earlier, this shouldn't be done in the graph variables. We want this to be available for other scripts, so put this in the scene tab. So I just need to alt click and drag this the picked object variable to get it to be a set variable in the scene, and I'll just connect that to the if function and finally connect the get game object to the set variable picked object. I just held control and left clicked and dragged to create this group, and I'm just going to rename it picking object. Once I click on that group, I'm going to change the color to blue, so it's just a little bit more color coded and a little bit easier to see. Now, once we've picked our object, it would stay picked until we cancel it. So we need to create a function to cancel the picked object. So what I'm going to do now is just add an update node, so on late update. And this will be checking to see if the mouse has been declicked or if the mouse button has gone up. So what we're going to use is input get mouse button up. And once the mouse has been clicked and let go, then the user would be able to drop the object. So we're going to be getting the pick object variable once again. Instead of it shouldn't be get variable yet, it should be set variable. So I'm going to connect those two, that to the if function, and I'm also going to be using a null, and that will be the code for the clear object. So if the mouse button is been left up, then the set variable will be set to null instead of set to the picked object. So it will clear the picked object. I'm also creating a group for this just to make everything nice and neat, and I'm going to recolor it to red. And that's it. That's how you create your picked object function.